Welcome back to another video. Today, we're talking all things Ebuka Okorie, point guard of the Stanford Cardinals as he prepares the NBA draft. It's draft season, and with that comes the emergence of some late stock risers, and no one has been more of an example of this than Okorie. Okorie was known nationally this past season as one of the best freshmen in the nation, and if it weren't for one of the more star-studded freshman classes in recent memory, his NBA draft buzz would have been significantly more substantial. Nonetheless, by the end of his freshman campaign, he was on countless NBA draft boards, but certain parts of his game posed concerns for NBA draft Twitter, like his lack of rim finishing efficiency, his overall reliance on pure scoring as opposed to a well-balanced diet of additional playmaking ability, and his relatively average three-point percentage. But then everybody found out that he had a plus 6.5 wingspan, and the second leading scorer on his team only averaged 10 points a game, and that he was only assisted on about 19.2% of his made field goals this past season. And all of a sudden, his stock shot up to lottery range. In my opinion, Ebuka Okorie has the potential to be one of the best advantage-creating scorers to come out of this draft class. And I knew this way before any of you watching this video did. And I can say this confidently because for those that don't know me, I was an assistant coach for Portland State this past season, where I had the pleasure of coaching against Okorie in his first official collegiate basketball game. Today, we're going to be breaking down the film from that game and talking about why Okorie has the potential to be one of the best players to come out of this draft class. Okorie finished with an impressive 26, 7, and 2, posting a true shooting percentage of 66.2. Okorie finished 7 of 11 from 2, 2 of 6 from 3, and 6 of 6 from the free throw line. We knew Okorie was good, but with limited high school film and only one exhibition game against Oregon under his belt, it was tough to be fully prepared for what he brought to the table. Not to mention front court pair of AJ Rahoshi and Chizumak Parra provided positional size for a Cardinal squad that was already enough for us to worry about heading into that game. Okorie would come out and score 10 of the first 13 points for the Cardinal offense, but nothing from the first few clips you'll see is screaming NBA draft lottery. He gets a nice pull-up jumper off of an offensive rebound, gets a corner three, and then gets a transition bucket here, gets the and one because of the goaltending call, but up to this point, there wasn't anything obviously here that we're too concerned with. He starts to show some flashes of it here as he gets downhill in this pick and roll bucket. And if you rewind this clip a little bit, I think one thing that takes Okorie's game, especially when it comes to pick and roll situations, to the next level is his ability to transition laterally to going laterally to getting downhill. And you can see it here if I slow it down. He uses his push cross to get to the outside of our defender's hips here, and then it's this right here how he's able to turn downhill and get directly on a straight path to the rim is something that I think, and obviously his ability to finish through contact here, are two things that I think is going to make him super special, especially as a pick and roll ball handler. This next ball screen clip shows a bit of a development area for him, and this is obviously just his first game. He got a lot better at this as the year went on, but being able to hit these pull-up jumpers, pull-up threes off of ball screens, especially when the defense is more relaxed like we were in this clip, I think is going to be imperative for him, especially as developing into a primarily ball handler on an NBA team. And, like I said, he got a lot better at this, but something I think that he's definitely going to want to develop as he gets into the league. Okorie's ability to get north-south in transition like this and his ability to create counters while still moving towards the basket is another reason why I think he was so effective at creating advantages like in this clip. Wasn't his best shooting night from three this game. As you see, he misses his catch and shoot corner three here. They get out in transition this next clip and offense kind of stalls out, so they defer to him. And one thing I think, he was hot this game to start, so I kind of understand. But at the same time, you'd like to see him attack this advantage, especially when you have a bigger defender on him and a lot of space over here on this side. But he does settle for a step back three here, which I think you'd like to see him try to get downhill, which is kind of what he became his calling card as the year went on. I think one thing people hold against Okorie a lot of times is his reliance on pure scoring ability, and this clip is a good example. You'll see we guard this pretty well. He gets downhill, but we're 2 feet outside the charge circle here with two on the ball, and you'd like to see him get off this when he's got options here on the backside, especially two guys who can shoot it pretty well. I think something that's going to develop more too as he enters the league with more capable offensive threats on the floor with him. But in my opinion, this is one of his best clips from the game, and I'm going to let it run first, and then we can talk about it. But ball screen situation gets downhill, good finish at the rim, and I think one of the things that separates him as in this draft class is his ability to stop and start. It's on full display here, so I'll go in slow motion. But another push cross to get the advantage created, and then he comes to basically a full stop right here. Hesitates, gets our help defender to freeze here, and then turns the corner. Just at an elite level, I think is something that is going to be super, super effective for him, especially as he gets into the NBA. So I'll play it again. I think it's a good play. right there. Yeah. Good clip of him here getting downhill in transition, but these are definitely the finishes that he needs to convert on that people are holding against him right now. And also, kind of predetermining some of his moves, I think, in my opinion. So as we run this one back, obviously he gets downhill, but this is one of those opportunities. I think you'd like to see him get downhill to his left here with the whole side of the floor unoccupied. Still a good move nonetheless, but even though, especially too, you got their big man here sealing, you get this whole left side, you might as well just take advantage of it. Okorie had 14 going into halftime, and we were a really good defensive team, so we knew we wanted to make some adjustments going in the second half. We were a top 60 team when it was all said and done defensively this past season. So we actually did a really good job to start the second half on him. He gets downhill in transition here, obviously not good. But then these next two possessions, we actually guarded him pretty well, keep him contained here on the ball screen, and then our guy does a really good job getting the strips here. So good job there. And then as we flow into the next clip, they get set in their offense, and then he kind of just makes an errant pass here. So he gets into a ball screen and just bad pass, bad read. And so we actually ended up, first 5 minutes or so, obviously, he started the first half with 10 of their first 13, and now second half we did a good job. He got a bucket in transition, but 2 turnovers, and those only 2 points through. Later in the second half, though, he got going a little bit here. He does just a really good example of his ability to start and stop, that kind of second burst that allows him to get downhill in this possession. And I'll rewind this one, but just an elite job of changing directions multiple times, rejects the screen. Maybe not the best idea there, but just his ability to problem solve throughout the possession, I think, is something he does at a really good level. Misses this 3 in transition, but then you fast forward just a little bit, and then he gets another opportunity at it from the corner, and he drills this one. So finished the half pretty strong for him, and definitely gave us a lot of problems. Ultimately, I think Ebuka Okorie has lottery pick level potential, and he showed flashes of it all the way back on November 4th.